What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here, and we have gotten the reveals for the new SRs and some extra cards for Set 2 of Fusion World Blazing Aura. So let's just dive right into it. I'm actually kind of very excited to talk about these cards, and I might be a little behind in terms of announcing what's going on with these cards, but it's important to talk about them regardless, and I'm actually pretty excited. So we'll go over the SRs first. So Red's first revealed SR is going to be Kale. Now, Kale is 20k power, 4 cost, and 10k combo. This is strong. That is strong. The fact that, like, and that's not even like half of the ice. That's not even the tip of the iceberg either. Permanent. When your leader is awakened, this card gets 5,000 power. So she automatically goes from a 20 to a 25k. 25k, 4 cost at 10k combo. That's strong. That's really strong. And then on play, you draw a card and then play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less and Tournament of Power and its special traits from your hand. This Kefla is nuts. I have been saying that Red in set 1 currently does not feel like a proper aggro playstyle. And Red, especially in Masters, was always known as the aggro type deck. And as it currently stands, you don't really have the ability to just play cards in this fashion. Making it more or less Red is more control versus actual aggro. And so with this reveal, it actually really bolsters up Red to be something more, especially coupled with the new Super Saiyan God Goku, where you can play a 20k or less Tournament of Power card from your leader effect. This is good. This is really good synergy for Red so far. Again, being able to gain 5,000 power, to be able to draw 1 card, and to play a card of 3 or less for free is nuts. And that's not even talking about what we're going to see in terms of the Red extra card that's gotten announced too. We'll get into that later. But this Kefla is really good. And I think Kefla is absolutely something that Red needed. And I'm very excited to see. Next, we got a SR for Blue. It is a Zamasu. 20k, 2 cost at 5k combo. His permanent skill is this card cannot be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills. This is really good. On top of the fact that when he attacks, you discard 1 card from your hand and then draw a card. This is really good, especially for the Goku Black deck. Right now, Goku Black is... I would say Goku Black is struggling heavily because you need Zamasus in order to use his Awakened Leader ability. And the Zamasus that we have currently are not great. We have a 5k combo that I think goes to 15k when there's a Goku Black on the field. We have a 1-drop. That's 15k. These cards, they're not strong. Red can easily proc them off the board. And the way that you kind of currently have to play Goku Black in order to kind of use his leader skill is you have to play a Zamasu on the turn that you want to use that ability. So you kind of have to wait till turn 3 or 4 to really gain use of that ability, and that's a little unfortunate that you have to waste energy to play Zamasu to keep your Zamasus alive long enough to be able to use that ability. This just gives the Zamasu deck a bit of some sustainability. And on top of the fact that you can swing, discard a card that you want to cycle out of your hand to draw another card, and then you can pop your leader ability to be able to gain his effect to play a Goku Black for cheaper. It's just cool. This is a cool card. It's not strong by any means. It's not overpowered by any means, but it's definitely some support that current existing decks have. And I think that's very much appreciated, especially considering that Goku Black, I think, is one of the more fan-favorite decks, but it's so underutilized just due to the fact that it lacks some support. So this card, I think, is very good. Hopefully we get more support like this. But I think this is a good start to the SRs that they're announcing. On to Green. Green gets a Trunks Future. This is the Trunks. This is the like teen Trunks, kid Trunk. Maybe I don't know what Trunks you would capitalize this as, but this is the one from the future with future Gohan. He's 20k power, 5k combo power, 3 cost. On play, if you have 5 or more energy, you can add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your energy in rest mode. Kind of similar. Kind of similar to the Goku. Is it the Goku? The 5-drop Goku. He does the exact same thing, but without the energy restriction. And then his auto, once per turn, when your battle card with a cost of 5 or more is removed from the battle area by your opponent, this card gets 10,000 power until the end of your next turn. This is a strong ability. Being able to increase the power of your card that not only lasts until the end, not only lasts on your turn, but it lasts until the end of your opponent's turn is really strong. That makes him 30,000 for 3 energy, and that's pretty good. Now, in terms of his on-play ability, I don't know how viable it's going to be used in this current meta. I could see this being used in like a Gohan deck if you're looking for searchers and stuff. If you want to ramp differently, and this is definitely similar to the Double Strike Gohan that we announced and talked about in the last video. This seems more like an aggro playstyle card, and I think that's really cool for green. That considering that you're not really playing anything early on for aggro in green as of right now anyway. So getting more aggro in green and having options like that to kind of change up the playstyle of green is actually kind of cool. And also his auto ability, because it's the Trunks that we're talking about from the future timeline, we could probably surmise that one of the next big reveals that they're going to announce for green is probably going to be a future Gohan. And as we know from the show, when Gohan dies in the history of Trunks, that's when Trunks, depicted in the card art here, goes Super Saiyan and gets stronger. So we can maybe surmise that we will get a green that shows us future Gohan, which is pretty cool. And again, it would be thematic for what this card is actually set up to do. Cool card. It'll be interesting to see how this guy gets used in the next set, but I think it's definitely an option for green that kind of changes up the playstyle a little bit, and I think that's fine for what they're doing for green so far. And then last but not least, we have Yellow's first SR reveal. It is Bulma. 5,000 power, 5,000 combo, 1 cost. Nothing crazy in that regard. However, her ability is pretty nuts. So she's an activate battle. So either when you're attacking or when your opponent is attacking, you switch this card to rest mode. You can add 1 card from your life to your hands. So she's a self-awakener in that regard. Then you can choose one of these 2 abilities. You can either choose up to one of your opponent's battle card with a cost of 4 or less and switch it to rest mode. Or if you have a rest mode battle card with a cost of 3 or more, draw 1 card. This is a very versatile card with a lot of utility. Being able to rest an opponent's battle card that's 4 or less is really strong. It helps you to kind of either help to clear board or set yourself up to prevent them from getting extra combo power or whatever have you. And she's kind of like a pseudo Mai in the sense that you can self-awaken from your life pool, and you can draw a card as well on top of that. So you could draw twice, essentially, with this card. Now, I would maybe say that I see this card having more early game use rather than late game use, but the fact that she has an ability that allows her to do something around the mid game is actually pretty cool. I like this card. I'm very excited to see what else comes out for Yellow. But I think this is a strong addition to the Yellow archetype as well. So we'll have to see what else gets revealed. Now on to the extra cards. Some of these extra cards are nuts, and then there's one very meme-worthy card that we'll talk about, and it's probably not the one that people expected. So let's talk about red first here. So Glimpse of a Hidden Arrogance. It's 2 cost. It's an activate battle. So during a battle that you initiate or your opponent initiates, you choose your leader or up to one of your battle cards. It gets 25,000 power for the battle. Then, if you have a battle card with 30,000 power or more, add up to one battle card with a cost of 4 or less from your drop to your hand. This is exactly what other archetypes needed. This is basically Gigantic Meteor for red, which is awesome. The difference being is that you get some extra utility on top of the extra 25k power, which is amazing. Getting 25,000 extra power, especially on defense, is part of the reasons why Gigantic Meteor in green is so good. On top of that, if you have a 30k power or more card on the field, like, you can add a card from your drop to your hand. And so this really helps the Kefla SR to a great degree, because you can basically play a Kefla, put another card on board with her effect, then you can swing, potentially lose that card to go into the drop. You then play this card. You play this card to get that Kefla back, and you can just restand it. Or you could do double Kefla plays, which would even bolster up your board even more. Like, there's so much versatility in a card like this, and especially considering that we haven't seen the rest of the set. So what else is red going to get that could really benefit from this extra card? I think this is almost going to be a must run. Just because I think every single deck should have a Gigantic Meteor to kind of give yourself some extra offensive and defensive capability. I think this is just a great card overall. Blue is getting a 1-drop card for Time Ring. Activate main. You look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and place them at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Then draw 1 card. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be... It's not a crazy card by any means. But considering that we have Merge Zamasu that's coming out next set, who's lacking draw power on his Awakened side, I could definitely see some versatility and usage with that deck in particular. Blue, outside of the new Zamasu, doesn't really hurt much from draw power. Maybe the Goku Black hurts a little bit from draw power too, since he doesn't draw on his front side. But being able to look at the top 3 cards, see if there's something there that you need for your current within your current hand, and being able to organize that in any means that you see fit. You could pull the top 3 cards from your deck, not see something you need, put it all at the bottom, and then draw a card. Just try your luck and see if you get something you need. Or if the top 3 cards have a card that you need, you could set that card as the top card of the 3 that you pulled, and then immediately draw it from that. And I think having that much control over what you're drawing is actually a pretty good thing for blue. And so while I don't think this card is necessarily crazy, and I wouldn't necessarily say you'd probably use this, I wouldn't say you would use this like a lot. I think that there is definitely a means and a reason that you would want to run this, and it's a cool effect. I think it's cool that you can kind of control your draws in a more comprehensive setting, which is neat. So here's our meme-worthy card. Now, everyone, and once again, I mentioned it in the last video, there's a lot of greens that got announced that people were thinking, oh, well, green's even more overtuned now than ever before. And this is one of them. I don't think so at all. This card, in my opinion, is garbage. It's Sensu is 2 cost, and it's got 2 separate abilities. You can either activate it on main and play an extra 3 energy to add the top card of your deck to your life. You're paying 5 energy. You're paying 5 energy to put a life from your deck, or put a card from your deck to your life. That's extremely costly. Now, do I think that has 0 use? No. I think you could probably see some use out of that. But it's going to be extremely dependent on if you are on the back burner, if you are in a losing situation, if you without getting that extra life in your hand, you will lose the game type of a situation. I would say the only deck that's maybe going to benefit from this particular card is going to be the Cell Leader, who does need to be at 5 energy to be able to use his Awakened Leader ability. But again, it's just way too costly. It's way too costly to use. I think that first ability is nothing. And then activate battle. Choose your leader or up to one of your battle cards, and it gets 5,000 power for the turn. When I first saw this card, I initially thought that secondary ability was garbage, that there was probably going to be no use for it. But having reread, because I'm a Dragon Ball fan, I can't read. Having reread what this does, adding an extra 5,000 power for the turn is actually pretty solid. If you're paying 2 energy to give one of your battle cards an extra 5,000 power, or heck, even Cell on a defensive turn, you could pay 2 energy to play this with Senzu Bean. Give Cell an extra 5,000 power. He's just as strong as Broly defensively. Or just as strong as Merge Zamasu defensively. You could even use that ability with Broly and make Broly 30k defensively. I mean, that secondary ability has some viability. It's not strong by any means, but that extra 5,000 will give you enough leeway to be able to sustain less damage. It'll allow you to maybe combo less to keep your life on board. I can see some usage in that secondary ability, but in terms of that first ability, I think it's going to be extremely niche when you use it that way. I think a lot of people were just upset about this card because of how Senzu Bean is treated in Masters, and Senzu Bean's really strong in Masters. So I can understand the concern and why people probably freaked out over this card, but the way I look at it, it's not anything special. I think there's some usage that you can get out of this, but it's an extremely costly card for the first ability, and it's not all entirely impactful on the second. So it is what it is, but it's not anything crazy in my opinion. And then the last extra card that was revealed is Blue Power Awakening for yellow, 2 cost. Similar to the green card for Senzu Bean, has 2 separate abilities. On activate main, choose up to one of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with a cost of 6 or more and KO it. This is a card that yellow desperately needed. This is something that allows them to actually have an answer to the Double Strike androids, to the Double Strike Gohan that's coming out next set, to the Secret Rare, to the Secret Rare Gohan, to the 8-drop Broly. That is a strong ability that yellow desperately needed, because yellow had no answer in terms of getting those cards off the board. And the only means in which you could really do anything to kind of benefit you would be to attack with a Double Strike Frieza to permanently lock a rested Broly, which you're not always going to see. Most Broly players will probably see that that's how they're being played, and they'll probably only swing once with Broly unless they know that they have game. So having a card like this to have an answer to some of the hardest cards to actually go after is really good, strong. And that's only half of the card. On activate battle, you can choose your leader or up to one of your battle cards, and it gets 25,000 power for the battle. Again, yellow is getting itself not only a card to take on the biggest cards in the game, but it's also given an ability that is just like Gigantic Meteor and can be used offensively or defensively depending on what you need to do. I think this is a very cool card, and honestly, a card like this plus the Bulma is the reason why I am as excited for yellow as I am next set. Yellow might be the deck that I try to strive to build. Very good cards. All of these extra cards I think are great, are fine. Maybe not all of them are great. They're all fine. They're all exactly what their respective archetypes needed. Same with all the SRs. Again, I think red is getting bolstered up incredibly. Yellow is getting bolstered up incredibly. Blue is getting some support. That's definitely going to help the current existing set 1 stuff, but it's not anything that's going to necessarily make them better. And green is just getting options. Green's not really getting anything that's bolstering them up and still keeping them at the number 1 set. I think come set 2, the way a lot of these cards are kind of showing, and or being shown to us, I think that it's going to be a much more even matchup between all the decks, and I'm very excited about what set 2 is going to be bringing to the table. So that's going to do it for the SR reveals and the extra card reveals from the past week or so. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button as it goes to help the channel and the algorithm, and consider subscribing for more Fusion World content. And with that said, I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace, guys.